on a couple of Head Start meetings. One was with like the national directors kind of telling us what to do when it first happened. And then we had a preschool policy council meeting via Zoom or Google call, whatever this is called, last week. And it actually went fairly well. We had enough people attend that we were able to have a quorum and they could vote and get the things through that they needed to. So it worked out.
Very good. Thanks, Brandy.
Yep.
Any other reports? If not, we'll move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Wilson.
1 second.
Okay.
A number of things. Seems like every day is 4 or 5 Google Hangouts or Zoom meetings, but I guess for the purposes of tonight, construction continues, which is good. And we're looking at getting started with the, it's really weird to hear yourself twice. It won't be long and they'll start. There is a little bit of abatement to be done on the Wolf property, just in that little front building, and they'll get started on that. And then demo might actually start ahead of demo on the middle school. And we can talk a little bit more about that in construction, but you'll see some of that activity, lots of paving going on, and we're pleased about that. And probably the day-to-day things that are going on is that instruction still taking place. Teachers are in contact with students and administrators in contact with teachers and families, and we're making some pretty good progress. We still have some engagement challenges that we're working through with individual students and families, but hopefully they understand and are starting to know that we're not trying to be a pain in contacting them, but that's how attendance works and that's how their grades are developed and how we measure their progress. So hopefully even those that are struggling a little bit will still have an opportunity to salvage the quarter and make sure that they're able to do the things they want to do for the future. From a hurrah standpoint, Mrs. Headley and I, mostly Mrs. Headley, got a grant applied for $25,000 for the COVID-19 through state of Colorado, and we actually got all $25,000 and it's in our bank account. So the expenses that we are experiencing with additional hotspots and some of the contracts that go with them for the connectivity, as well as some of the additional expenses we're incurring with the delivery and preparation of 2,200 meals a day, should be taken care of. It also, in our application, we included a couple of more robust laptops for accounts payable and payroll to be able to work remotely. And so that'll be included, and those costs shouldn't go against our regular budget. So some of those things are pretty cool. And it's fun to see the different people that are stepping up from within our organization to just make a difference in small ways and in big ways. So that's fun. What we're hearing out of Denver is legislature will come back to session sometime around the 17th or 18th of May. And supposedly within 2 weeks, they'll have the long bill passed and we'll know where our budget sits, or at least what's available for our budget by 1st of June or shortly thereafter. I'll believe it when I see it, although I do know that the JBC Joint Budget Committee is starting to meet again come 1st of May. So maybe they have a chance, but I'll be a little surprised. And in terms of curriculum, I'm still working on some of our curriculum companies to see if we can get a little better pricing now that life's a little different. You all approved that as a board at our March meeting, but I'm still wanting to maybe get a little better pricing if we can pull it off. I think we need to if we can. Professional development, we're looking at some of those things across the board. A number of our professional development conferences were canceled because they were in person. And so that's not the end of the world, but we're working with some of those companies to see about getting those things accomplished virtually, in addition to what we're doing for our paraprofessionals that we talked about previously as well. So lots of online opportunities, and just trying to make sure that they're as robust as we want them to be, and beneficial, so that it's not just a time waster. And I don't know if you saw the governor's presentation today. He did talk about letting the stay-at-home order expire and moving to a safe-at-home situation. You noticed he intentionally, I think it was intentional, but he conspicuously did not address childcare, education, or answer the question about summer camps. And I think that's part of his statement of saying, we're a very diverse state. We have places where there are hot spots still, places that are coming out of it. He mentioned Eagle County, and others that really haven't experienced much of it. So from that standpoint, I think he's going to leave that up to the local piece. But if you noticed on the slides, if you noticed when they zoomed in, if you were watching as well as listening, it did have schools closed. And regardless of whether he thinks they do or not, in talking with the health professionals here in Morgan County, we're not leveling out yet, or at least we haven't seen 14 days of leveling out. So I don't see any responsible way to bring kids back to school before the 21st of May. So we can talk more about that later on in the meeting, but as a report, I think that the time is such that it's going to be real tough to see that working in any feasible way. So, questions?
You had mentioned earlier about families still not engaging. Have we made sure that those are just that it's their choice to not engage, and not that they don't have access to like Chromebooks or internet or anything like that? Okay.
Yes, what we've done is on multiple levels, whether it's, obviously electronically, it makes it a little tough if they don't have connectivity. They can't send us an electronic message that says, hey, I can't make it. But we've been making phone calls to see if they're having connectivity issues. And right now, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Troutwine, but I don't believe we have anybody who doesn't have connectivity. Is that accurate?
That we know of, correct. I mean, yeah. We still have hotspots, and everyone should have a Chromebook, and if they don't have either, we can fix that quickly. So, anybody that let us know, we're happy to help.
And really, what we're doing is we're calling people that haven't engaged still. We did right after the bat. We started on a Wednesday, and by that next Friday, we'd made contact with all but two of our families. And then again, if we're not seeing assignments being turned in, then teachers contact their administrators and counselors, try and make the call to say, hey, teachers tried, we haven't gotten any response. And then if we're unable to get that, then we've used law enforcement to do a drive-by to pop in. And again, there are some cases where, law enforcement reports back and says, yeah, there was a car running in the driveway and we could hear people inside, but nobody answered the door. And it's like, okay, there is that out there. So, but yeah, I think we're certainly making every effort to make sure that we have as much engagement as possible, and that people aren't being left out other than by choice.
Does anybody have any more questions? Okay.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes, sir.
I had a question earlier about musical instruments and whether or not those could be distributed, and how and when. And we've been working on that, and we're hoping that we'll have those at a spot where we can do, I don't know that we'll be delivering them, but I think we'll have a distribution similar to what we did with Chromebooks. And we should be able to have that by hopefully by that first week of May is our plan. Make sure we get things cleaned and ready to be distributed, and then we'll worry about getting them disinfected upon return. But I think we have a plan in place. It's just a matter now of working through all of those instruments now that our music instructor or instructors are able to do that.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Wilson. Anybody else have any questions or comments? If not, we'll move on to 4.4. Diane?
I was just wondering, is there going to be any impact on who's going to address if there's an impact on graduation requirements being met? Whose responsibility is that going to be if some of these people that are not engaging are slated for graduation this spring? That's been kind of a concern of mine.
Well, we're still assessing which students might be in harm's way, if you will, in terms of whether or not they can graduate. And then once we determine whether there'll need to be any adjustments, or if we believe there should be any adjustments, then we'll make that comment to you all. We have a board meeting set. I don't know if you remember, our board meeting was set for May 4th. And other than that topic, I was going to suggest that we delay that to the 11th or to the 18th. Seniors' last day is the 6th per the regular calendar. And so to me, I think that's probably pretty good cause to have that board meeting rescheduled at least till the 11th. That way, if there are those that we need to suggest to you that we'd like to relax any or all, not all requirements, but any of the requirements for some of our students, we could notify you far enough in advance, and then we could take that action at the meeting on the 11th, which would still be ahead of the originally scheduled 17th, which is commencement Sunday.
If there's no other questions or comments, we'll move on to the 4.4, which is a financial report. Candy, are you willing to go ahead and give that? Is Candy out there somewhere?
I'm here. My plan actually was just to not give a verbal presentation,
Okay.
but instead to just have you all read through what was attached to your agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody have any questions or comments on the financial report that we have attached to our agenda? If not, we'll move on. At this time, we have no community comment and no executive session at this time. Is there a motion to approve the consensus agenda?
I say move.
I'll second.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments on that? If not, roll call, please, Sandy.
Can I ask who seconded that, please?
Lacey.
Lacey. Okay, thank you. Mrs. Cox,
Aye.
Mrs. Garrett,
Aye.
Mrs. Hanson,
Aye.
Mrs. Fow,
Aye.
Mrs. Santana,
Aye.
Mr. Tadolini,
Aye.
Mr. Mortensen.
Aye. Okay, moving on to business items. 8.1, Resolution 2020-03, grant emergency powers and suspend policies. Is there a motion on this 8.1?
I would make a motion to approve that resolution, and then I'll talk to it after it's seconded.
I second the motion.
Okay, so moved and seconded to approve motion 8.1. Is there discussion?
I just had a couple of comments. When I talked to Randy Black today from CASB, he said that I asked him about this resolution, and he said this resolution is being adopted across the state to avoid any conflicts if anything should go from bad to worse or from worse to even worser. But he said there's not been one instance, and he said, I'm sure that we would have heard about it if there'd been an instance where this had been abused or anything, but it just protects the school district and it protects the students and lets Dr. Wilson do his job is basically what it does. You know, we're all in this together, and this helps us see that a little more clearly, I think.
Diane, am I right in thinking that this expires at some point? I'm not sure exactly when that is, but maybe you know.
I think that I don't actually, but whenever the governor releases his expectations on the state, I think that's when it would be null and void anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, short term.
I think there's some language in that resolution that explains that, and it'll take me a minute to look at it probably, but.
Yeah. Oh.
Briefly.
Dr. Wilson, do you know when the expiration of that would be? You probably have talked to more people about it than.
I believe that if and when the governor allows the stay-at-home order, his executive order to expire, which would be next Sunday, I think that essentially takes care of it at this point. Now, if he comes back out because people don't social distance the way the models suggest, or if their models were wrong and he reinstitutes, then it would cover us for that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it says that the temporary powers authorized by this resolution are in effect for the duration identified in the governor's order of March 18th, 2020, and any subsequent extension of that order, unless otherwise rescinded or extended by the power upon a two.
Did we just lose half the people?
Talking. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, we lost 3 or 4 district office. Looks like they're the bill. I'm not sure why that is, but
Okay.
I'm not sure if Bill's there because he's not unmuting.
huh.
Okay.
And-
I'm going to mute.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I did unmute, but I may be low enough on my volume. I can see Andy, Scott, Diane, Brandy.
Yeah. We lost everybody at the district office, Bill. So I'm not sure. The social distancing requirement wasn't met or something. I'm not sure what was going on, but have them.
Well, they're
log
still
back in.
here.
Yeah, whatever.
You can see, I don't have anybody at gunpoint, so I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Go ahead and just log back in or try to. Join the
Okay.
meeting. Join the meeting again. We lost Sandy too, so.
Yeah, I seem to have lost Sandy on here. All right, we'll tell them. Relog in, peoples. I'll text Sandy and tell her.
Break time.
Says this. Mr. Troutwine,
Yeah.
they're telling me they're getting a notice that says this site can't be reached.
Huh. The internet must have gone out. Did they reboot their Chromebooks?
They haven't rebooted their Chromebook.
Yeah,
What do you
have them redo their Chromebooks. Are you on your computer, Bill, or your Chromebook?
I'm on my computer.
Okay. Huh.
I'm on my computer at home.
And Sandy was on her computer though, right? Or was she on her Chromebook?
I don't know. She's in another room. Yeah, Sandy says she can't get back in either. What's the quick way to reboot your Chromebook?
Hold the power button. Yeah, seriously. Close the lid. Close the lid. Will turn it off and turn it back on.
We've had to like start a whole new meeting before when this has happened. It's only happened twice to me so far, but we've had to create a new link and everybody going through a new link, which is awful for a board meeting because you can't publish it.
Yeah, that's a pain. Huh.
Hopefully that's not the case this time.
Yeah. So,
Well, I think they can.
Glad you've had experience, Meg. Give us an idea at least which direction to head.
Well, I can fix the Sandy thing because I can just call her on my phone and she can join in and.
well, now she needs to be on hers. That doesn't make sense because, she's on a computer. I'm not sure how yours is still working, Bill, honestly, but.
There's no internet.
Yeah, we don't have any internet, I don't think.
I'm gonna try my hotspot, and I'm allowing others to join. So if you can look at
The number of participants dropped from 11 to 6.
Yeah,
I'll see if I can figure it out here.
maybe my computer hogged all the bandwidth, Scott. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. It's not that. It's just. It could be a lot of things. I mean, yeah, it's just saying there's poor performance there.
Well, maybe this is a divine intervention to not pass that resolution and make me king.
I was gonna say, somebody.
Did you try signing all the way out?
We're just trying to prolong this board meeting so I can get extra miles on my exercise bike.
Trying to cost me a minimal wager with my wife as to what time I'd be home tonight.
Okay. Yep. Sean, are you on?
No, not yet.
You want my
Yeah, my Chromebook will not even load Google, my Google Mail. Just so you know that, Mr. Troutwine.
Yeah, so that's the problem. I mean, that's why we do this stuff from home. Why we haven't been in the district office for a month, so I don't know why it wouldn't.
You're up again.
There's that call-in number. There's that Polycom phone right by Brad. You can pull that out, use it as a conference number, and call that number that I emailed to Sandy.
Well, the issue isn't that. I mean, other than whether or not you can hear the four that are here.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to hear them, then we're good.
Well, I can hear them.
Oh yeah, but
Can you hear us if we're talking from over here? Can you hear me?
barely. I mean, yeah. If we take that conference phone out, you'll be able to hear, and then you put that over, dial it in.
Get my Gmail up and all.
All right. Well, hang on. We'll.
Yeah, it's plugged in there. I mean, you literally have to just pull it out and push dial. So
All
there,
right.
Paul's back now. Hold on.
I think I just heard you for a minute.
Brad's there.
Yeah.
There we go.
How'd you get back on my
I don't know.
mail? Won't load. I
It was
can't
accidental.
do that.
Which is weird because it's showing him as muted. And
You want me to dial it or not?
well, that's all. I bet if Brad got on, I bet the others will come back, have them same thing, close their Chromebook for a minute and then turn it back on. I don't think Brad's quite the hacker, so I'm not terribly worried about. Yeah, that's.
I'm much of a hacker for sure. Can you hear me now?
Now Brad's running off of my hotspot, so if we need to get Sean on mine, there's mine. Because I'm back up too.
All
Just have to
right.
click
Well,
into it.
hang on.
I don't know what I am. I have a blank screen, but I can hear my voice on Bill's computer, so we're doing something good.
Yeah, you're on now, Brad, but it's really
Hey, Brad.
pixelated. Yeah.
Right.
So can anybody hear anybody from home?
Yeah, they're fine. I'm still up. All the more reason I should.
Page that says this.
You want me to come log you up my hotspot? You got it? You're gonna need my password. Yeah, my screen.
You're dark? Okay. Well, we can do this even if we're dark. All right.
I have to go over my email. It took a minute.
Let's see.
It said that it was having trouble connecting, but it was.
Okay.
Sandy, can you hear us?
Sandy, can you hear us?
Think about the. Turning around.
I guess we're gonna have to use yours. I guess we're gonna This way. You won't even discover that one. Now we have a gnome watching from the back of the room.
We have Ally.
You need to wave, Sandy. Still see everybody? Yeah.
We've got
Right
nine.
now I
squares. We need to do what, the Brady Bunch song?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see everybody like that. Yeah.
You're up. Sandra, you're on.
Are you dark? Do you have pictures of that? Do you have pictures on your screen, or is it just dark? Are you good? Yeah, I think we're rolling.
I still don't have.
I'm muting my dude.
I don't either.
We just don't have Sean and Sandy.
Well, Sandy's here.
Okay. I still can't say anything. Yeah.
Oh, now she left. Now she's back. She's back. She's here. I don't know what we're gonna do with Sean.
No, it's still spinning over here. It's trying to connect with Lacey's.
It's strong, so it gotta be. I'm off too. Well, if Bill's works, we can still run the show from here and just listen to his. We'll just improvise, make it work. He's almost up.
Good.
Trying now. It might work. All right. Okay, you can see Sean. Now who'd we lose?
Lacey.
She's here, I promise.
Good. Does anybody have any more questions on 8.1?
I don't have Brad on here.
I'm not on it.
Okay.
Roll call, please, Sandy.
I don't know if they can hear you.
Mrs. Fox,
Aye.
Mrs. Garrett. Aye. Mrs. Hanson,
Aye.
Mrs. Fowl.
Hi. Here.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, 8.2, BEA, School Board meeting.